What's going on, coaches? Thomas here from MyCoach AI, and a super quick video today on metrics. Super important piece of the MyCoach AI system. And the reason they're so important, and the reason I want to make a quick video about them today, is because whether you are a nutritional coach, or you are a coach focusing on exercise, or you are a coach that mainly focuses on habits and changing habits, either way, anything in between and outside of that, you are going to encounter metrics. This is one of the most important functionalities in our system. So it's really important to understand what they are and what kind of role they play in the system. But the good thing is, it's very simple. So let's get into it. Now, the best and simplest way to explain what metrics are, progress metrics, as the name suggests, is any type of client data that we track. Okay, any type. And by that I mean nutrition, by that I mean exercise data, by that I mean habits, just like I laid out in the different types of coaching. Any type of tracking and pretty much any question that you may ask your clients is considered a progress metric inside of MyCoach AI. And we use them so widespread because these are great ways to collect data, but also then create overviews over time. So what the system does automatically is when you collect all of these data points in all of the different areas that I just mentioned, it means that it's going to create graphs over time, comparisons when it comes to pictures, and just in general give you great overviews the more you track these things. And a client too, for that matter, right? They can see the metrics too if you want them to. Now, the best place to find your metrics, first of all, is if we go here to the libraries section and we find our metrics library. There is, of course, a bunch of pre-made metrics that we already have added to the system that you can just go ahead and use. This is things like nutrition. This is things like progress pictures that you are seeing here, maybe weight, right? But a lot of different things as well that have to do more with things like habit tracking. So maybe we are talking about daily journals like you are seeing here, or tracking motivation levels out of 10, and a bunch of different things. Sleep, right? Water intake. All of these things super important potentially for you to track with clients, and we have them in the system. But very importantly, you can also create your own metrics at any time. So if there's something that you want to track, because it's important for you and your clients to do, and we don't already have it in our default system, you're absolutely able to just create brand new metrics. You choose a nice group for them so you keep things organized. And again, whether it's based on a number, a custom text field from a certain length, a time or duration, photo, video, all of these things are absolutely trackable. For example, if I select number here, right, we can directly go onto our units. So we have a bunch of default units, or you can even set a custom one. So if none of these apply and you are looking for your client to track the amount of pages of a book they have read, your custom unit would be pages, right? So any type of tracking that you feel is important to do, you can just create those metrics here and then use them globally across the system. Now, once you have done so, you've created some of your own and you've analyzed some of the ones that we already have for you to use, you can now use them widespread throughout the system. And that means, for example, that when you go to build your check-in form right here in our global settings, you make them, yes, you guessed it, out of progress metrics, right? So you create new metrics or you add existing ones specifically for your check-ins. So that's a great example of where you may ask them. But a lot of different places too. Maybe you are building your program, and while you are building your program, you have to decide that every single Sunday, we're going to go to add progress metric right here. And every single Sunday, you want your clients to submit a little front photo, right? No problem. You add the metrics directly to your programs. Same goes for the schedule, of course, because they're so closely related to the functionality of the programs, but you have the ability to add all of these metrics there. But it doesn't quite end there. This is already super widespread, right? But of course, there is also different things like nutrition and exercise that are outside of these things that we just discussed that are also metrics, like I told you in the beginning. But those sometimes may happen just automatically. So a good example is nutrition. What you do is you set out nutrition targets for your clients, for example, right here on the schedule. And as your clients then go to track their macros, whether it's a meal plan that's assigned or they just track their own macros, right, through our tracking features, these things are two progress metrics. We see this client here, Christian, he has already tracked his macros for today. When we click into it, we see the totals right here in the food section. And these two are metrics, these nutrition totals, right? Exercise, another great example. When you put out right here workouts for your clients to complete. And they go in and they add their weights and the reps and the sets and whatever they need to do in their tracking. These things too get tracked as metrics. And all of this comes together because, of course, there's a reason for this. All of this comes together in what we call the metrics section. So look at this as kind of your central database for any client data that has ever been collected. Okay, as we scroll down here under the progress metrics section, we see some things that are auto, like nutrition, as we just discussed, right? All of this stuff gets tracked automatically, compared, put out in graphs. You can go here into the history to also see the individually tracked metrics, just like all of the other ones. Exercise too, right? So here under exercises, we can see any of the exercises where data has been collected for this specific client. And there too, you can create graphs and you can see all of the details. We have, of course, a check-in tab because as we saw before, we can add certain metrics to check-ins, right? And these things too get collected, graphed out for you, compared over time. And so it's super useful. The more you track these things and the longer you've been working with a client, your metrics section is going to be nicely filled up. It's going to show you exactly how your client is doing. And that's why metrics are so important. Whether you work with nutrition, exercise, habit tracking, a combination of all of them or anything in between, metrics is something that you are going to use in MyCoach AI, and so are your clients. So it's super important to understand. Now, you have a good idea of how metrics work, so you can start working with them. The longer you've been doing so, the more automated and easy it's going to be, and the more info it's going to give you as a coach to help your clients with their results. And if you want to learn more about the MyCoach AI system, in case you're not part of our system yet, just go ahead and go to our website because we have an awesome demo for you showing a full rundown of the system. And right now you can even sign up for a free trial. So you can check all of these things out yourself, track a couple metrics, see how it works, and maybe I'll see you on the inside. See you on the next one.